coached basketball, I had about 4 really good basketball players on my team. These were girls who knew the game, who had the basic skills mastered, who could control the game when they were on the court. Now, the other 7 girls on my team, they barely knew what a basketball was, let alone how to play. As a coach, I would put our 4 really good girls in the game on the court at once. And when they were on the court, they controlled the game. They would score at will. They would push the pace of play. They would be amazing on defense. But then it would come time for subs. We'd have to sub our good girls out and put our next group of girls out on the court. And any progress we made would be undone. We would rarely score. We would be lost on defense. Within 1 game, I realized I had a huge issue as a coach. I had a short bench. How's your bench? What an interesting question, right? An odd question. But what's interesting is as we talk with churches, we hear the same thing over and over again. There's a leadership shortage. Many of our churches suffer from a short leadership bench. See, as we look around our congregations, as we ask for men and women to step up and lead, what we find is it's often the same group of people that come forward. You've probably heard the old adage, 20% of the people doing 80% of the work. In your congregation, it might feel like it's 10% of the people doing 90% of the work. See, to find small group leaders, to find men and women to serve our various ministries and lead them, to find men and women to serve on our leadership teams like elders and council, at times it feels impossible, like no one wants to step up. But the effects of a short leadership bench run much deeper than the ability to meet the pragmatic needs of our churches. You see, a short bench limits your church. It limits the ability of your church to move forward a mission. It limits the forward movement and outworking of the vision of your church. And ultimately, it limits the health of your church. As a basketball coach, I quickly realized that if I wanted to win any games, I needed to build up the bench. I had to. But I couldn't look elsewhere to do that. I couldn't look for new girls from the school to join the team. I couldn't look at other schools and poach girls from their schools to join the team. The answer to my short bench was actually right in front of me. It was these 7 girls who just needed to be developed. It meant that I would need to coach them. I need to spend time in practice, teaching them the basic skills, working with them to grow those basic skills, teaching them the basic rules, working with them so they could grow as players to the point where they could hold their own on the court. Pastors, leaders, the answer to our short leadership benches is often right in front of us. Each week as we gather, the potential leaders come and sit in our pews. Our pews are filled with men and women who know the church, who love the church, but are often reluctant to step up and lead because they don't know if they're called or if they have the ability to do so. You see, what they desperately need is to be equipped. The question is who's going to equip them? See, too often, we have looked to outsource the equipping of our potential leaders. We've said this is someone else's responsibility. But what if we took responsibility for developing our own leaders? What if we believe that the local church must be serious about owning the biblical call and responsibility to equip the saints for the work of ministry? You see, I believe that each of our churches have amazing men and women in them who have tons of potential, but it's been largely left untapped. It's underdeveloped or undeveloped. And that's why we've created this resource, the Leadership Greenhouse. You see, the Leadership Greenhouse is a resource that walks you and your leadership teams through the steps needed to create a leadership development plan that fits your church and context. In these 6 videos that we've created, we walk through defining what a healthy leader looks like, to helping you think through what kind of leaders you'll need for the future, to help you think through the how of developing leaders. With these 6 videos, we've also created a workbook that will help you and your team put all this into practice in your church so that you can create and develop leaders within your own church. You see, your bench doesn't have to be short. You can invest time and energy and resources into equipping leaders from within your church for the sake of the mission that your church is called to. Our prayer is that this resource would help you equip leaders, would help you develop leaders for the sake of your church and the mission that Jesus has called you to.